Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Snuffed, a Prestige production. I am joined today by my lovely co-host, Jason, first and foremost. Hi, Jason.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Aside from being bullied for choking on a pretzel, I'm doing great today. How are you?
I mean, sometimes you just have to get bullied.
That's a hot
But
take.
I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you made it.
It was touch and go for a second there, but we're surviving now, and that's what matters. But
Pretzels,
anyway,
everybody, be careful.
Jason aside, we're joined by our very extra special guest today, a Suitman survivor legend, a Prestige production member, and challenge designer. Some may refer to him as a flop, but I refer to him as a legend. Hi, Jack.
Hello.
How are you?
Very sick and tired.
Are you still sick? Oh, no.
I have been sick basically this entire week. And I mean, luckily I haven't had any fucking shifts, but my body is going through it.
I love that we have you in your prime.
Exactly.
Diva down. Diva down back. But, I mean, I hope you feel better. Shit, that is rough.
Yeah, I mean, I came to this knowing that I'd get completely fucked. So, you know, I'll be fine.
Soleil! Woo! Jack's powering through. For those listening, we are now at episode 5 of the Amazon. We just had a double tribal council where we saw the exit of both Jinja and Kay. And I guess before I get into kind of the format for today, I kind of want to address those two, specifically since, you know, we're talking about the double boot right now anyway. Thoughts on Jinja going home, Jack? I know that you know Jinja, so I'm curious to hear your take as to Jinja going home so soon.
I'm not going to mince words here. I'm very annoyed. I did specifically fight for Jinja to play this game. I specifically went out and recruited them. And knowing that what was given was very underwhelming in terms of activity. I don't know if they were going through something in life. It was very, very disappointing to see them just not really give any effort.
Yeah, it like even when she would give confessionals, it was very like ooh, haha. Like they're like there was rarely a time where every confessional question was answered or every trust ranking was done. Like I don't think there was a time when that happened. So that part was shocking to me because I like you talked about Jinja in such high regard, and like you said, it could have just been a thing where Jinja had something going on personally in real life to where their activity was limited because of it, which is totally valid, but we don't know that, obviously, nor do we need to know that. You know, it's not our business, per se, so all we can go off of is what we were presented with, and what we were presented with was, well, nothing.
I mean, it's not going to be great when all you're remembered for from the season is being named or being called Gina by Christine.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I am so fucking happy that I asked Christine to apply to this season. I will stand my ground on that because she unintentionally is gold. Like between the Gule Hap, like obviously like Specs couldn't see this because it was in the voting booth, but trying to explain how Gule Hap worked to Christine, I was like, am I doing that bad of a job explaining this? Like, what is it?
I think
The
funny thing is
you
Christine
weren't.
is just not reading everything. Like she came back yesterday after like dealing with her family, which is priority number 1, absolutely. But then comes back and is like, okay, so I do all 7 puzzles. Like, no, you do one. Talk to your tribe before coming here. Like,
yeah, she was like, so I do like a blue 3 and a 4, and I'm like, no, baby, no. The person that I was actually really sad to see go was Kay, though. Like, I recruited Kay because I played with Kay and Waffle's big brother like a year or two ago at this point. And Kay played more Viver recently and did well. So I was kind of surprised at like the lack of content that Kay was giving, because from what I've known of Kay, that's not like Kay at all. So I was like, obviously I don't know what's going on with Kay either, but like kind of more to Ginger in the realm of like, there wasn't a lot being shown, but there was a bit more being shown than what Ginger was giving, but like not by much. So I was kind of like, what the hell? Like, I was excited to see Kay, and Kay, from what I've seen her play, I've seen her play in a few orgs now, she's always gone far in the game. So her getting 18th place, oof, you hate to see it. You really do. She was not mothering that episode.
Yeah, Kay's really, well, this has been so under the radar, didn't really give us much, but had a lot of people, like Kay's elimination outside of Colby's evacuation, like really impacted the what is that game called again? Fantasy team.
I thought you were gonna say the Amazon.
I was like, what is the word? What is the word?
I'm like, do you know the name, love?
People actually picked
the draft.
Kay to win.
Yeah, the draft.
Team draft. Yeah.
Yeah, I picked Kay because I've seen Kay play before, and I know that she's a good player. So that's why I was like, girl, what are we doing?
Did not bring us anything. Like, I feel like this up to this point in the game, like, and it might be a spoiler for a future question here, might ruin it, but like I feel like we really haven't lost a big player in the game yet. Like, a lot of it has been just calling of the herd.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say that's fair to say, to be honest. But, you know, it is what it is in that case. But
I mean, I'd rather be calling the herd now than having people who are here at the end.
True. I mean, there has, like, the person that I would say, honestly, has been kind of not... I wouldn't say that he was robbed, because he did fully contribute to his demise. But Matt's whole situation from being swapped from Makuna to Iguana, it was just unfortunate, but he did himself no favors on that tribe at all. It was just so tragic to see. I was like,
I mean, when you have an entire alliance made against you to shut you out of a challenge, and then they only realize, like, after the challenge, oh no, he wasn't a spy. He actually is here to help us. He's part of our tribe. Right. You have fucked up hard.
Yeah, I don't understand Matt's, like, why Matt lied coming into the whole Beware Advantage lie never made any sense. Like, if you're going to lie, make sense. But there was no penalty for the person who found the Beware Advantage in his story. So, like, why would anybody believe that? So, of course, they're going to feel a kind of way and that you're lying. And if you had just come and said, I was literally just picked the Beware Advantage, said yes, and now I'm here, like, they're probably going to realize you have an advantage coming your way if you survive. But the lie made no sense. The lie actually hurt him.
Yeah.
So, like, I do feel like he had a lot. Like, he did get screwed in finding that advantage and go into a trap alone. But his story just buried him further.
Well, yeah, I'm just like, why? Like, if I was going to be swapped on a new tribe and had this whole thing happen, I would just be upfront about what happened. Because ultimately, I think Matt was going to be screwed regardless, to be honest, in terms of people believing him or not believing him. But ultimately, I would just try and be either as clear as possible, or if I'm going to lie, tell a plausible lie. Because he basically said, oh, you both get a reward and get to send someone off your tribe that you don't like. Like, when would that ever happen in Survivor? Like, where you get basically two rewards in one. Like, it just didn't seem plausible from the start. So I was just like, if you're going to tell a lie, tell a good one.
Yeah.
Not to mention that entire tribe is full of paranoid people. But, like, when you have Mother Christine leading the charge against you, you're doomed. You're just doomed. It's not his fault that Christine was devouring that episode. I don't know what to tell him. Not my problem. And then we have Jared.
Although, like, before we get to Jared, like, I'm annoyed right now that Iguana has not found the advantage to swap somebody over to Makuna. Like, come on. Like,
even step it up, people. Oh God. No, yeah, I'm like, there's been a startling, aside from like, there's nothing in row D. Like, there's been like a startling amount of like, not a startling amount, but like a lack of amount of like people finding things and like actually going for it. Which like I understand, but I'm like, damn, that's crazy. That's actually crazy. But it's been interesting to watch, to say the least, in terms of how the advantages have worked out so far. Plus, you have Jared, who was like, I love my tribe. They're great. And then everyone's like, no. That one was rough to watch. It really was rough. Like, you hate to see it for Jared. You really do. But anyway, moving on to the actual questions. So in terms of challenges for Jack, we've seen kind of our fair share of returning challenges from Suitman Survivor already this season. What are some of your all-time favorite challenges that you've done?
I mean, my personal favorite challenge that I've ever done for this series is cutting you off. It is, in essence, a really, really simple challenge, but it forces players to immediately start turning on each other.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's used in the early merge, it really does accelerate the pace of the game.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to remember. Wait, I'm trying to remember what the format of that one is. Aside from like fucking people over.
Every single play at the start of each round, a mini puzzle is dropped.
Mm-hmm.
The person who solves that correctly starts by cutting one other player out of 5 potential options.
Right.
If that is the chord that eliminates them from the round, that player is eliminated. Otherwise, the player was just cut, then gets to attempt to cut someone else. And it keeps going until someone is actually cut.
Yeah. Like, I think it's really cutthroat, and that's what I enjoy. Like, I enjoy the things that fully involve, especially in the merge portion of the game, fucking people over in a challenge. It's just so funny. And it always adds drama and, like, can brew petty bullshit to happen. So I'm always here for that kind of thing. But in terms of challenge design, like, what are the components that you find are hard? Like, because obviously you've come up with a really high amount of these challenges yourself. So, like, when it comes for you, when, like, we're talking about, like, in production, like, bringing in new challenges, how, like, what is the hardest part for you in terms of doing that?
I mean, the most difficult part behind it is honestly just not retreading old ground. A lot of the stuff is the same in and out, and you just have to repaint it. So trying to get a challenge that doesn't feel like it's just another challenge from another season is really difficult.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think because we've done so many at this point, it's like it's hard to come up with something that's kind of like brand new or feels fresh or different per se. So I think that's definitely, I would imagine. I mean, obviously, whenever I've like brought a challenge to like an immunity guide for a season, it's always been like a past challenge we've done before and just haven't done for a long time to like throw in something that still feels fresh because it hasn't been done in like 5-6 seasons kind of thing. But yeah, I simply do not know how you managed to have brought so many good challenges in. Like, are you taking like inspiration from other orgs? Like, I know a lot of it is like from like shows that you've seen that are like game shows, but like, have you ever taken stuff from like other orgs and kind of been like, well, this would be kind of fun to see like how this would work in like this realm rather than the other?
Yes, I absolutely have. I mean, we have a couple challenges this season that are going to come up later that are directly taken from another org because it worked out so well. But also, I mean, we've added our own spin. We've made sure that everything makes sense within those contexts. So, I mean, it's very interesting to see like what we can pull for this series.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, no, we've used stuff from other orgs in the past.
Eradication?
No.
Really?
Not eradication, mostly because a lot of those games are primarily like single elimination games, and they're all individual, so it's
Mhm.
harder to adapt those.
Right.
It's a lot easier to look at other Survivor games that have done well and just take inspiration from that.
Gotcha. That's fair. I think that makes sense, honestly. Like, it would obviously be easier to adapt from, like, existing Survivor orgs. But, it's... Challenge design is not something that I do well, per se. It's simply not my jam. But, Jason, do you have any favorite challenges that you have either played or hosted that you are, like, eating up all the time?
I hate as a player. As you can see from my history, I don't win a lot of them. So there's not any that I'm like, I'm amazing at. Except I can slay the wiki, apparently. Took down NJ last season, so that was fun. No, I don't know. Like, I did enjoy the Ripcord challenge, like playing it in the last season. I did get royally fucked by my own allies, but it was a lot of fun. As for hosting, I do like the trivia. For some reason, I'm a sucker for a good trivia challenge, and I love hosting it. The one thing that, as a host, that annoys the hell out of me are the players that don't fucking read.
When I tell you that hosting YoHap, well, for the part of it that I did, shout out to Jack for taking over, because I had to get a fucking oil change that took 6 hours to do. God, that was horrible. Anyway, the point is, hosting YoHap and the number of questions that I had to repeat and, like, answer like several times, I'm like, y'all can read.
Y'all can read?
Yes.
Sorry.
Y'all can read. Like, it's literally not that hard. Like, this challenge is not complicated to it in the first place. Granted, I could have done a sample round in the beginning to, like, kind of show, but Andrea had already started. So I couldn't, because he had already started to do the challenge, so it would not have been fair. So
I actually have a follow-up question, like, because we used to be an all-live challenge server, and now we're gone non-lives and, like, semi-lives. Like, do you guys like having to explain this a million more times throughout the 24 hours of the challenge, or do you prefer the live challenges?
Ooh. I'll delegate to Jack on that one first.
I mean, it is a lot harder, at least for me now, to do a lot of live challenges. So I definitely prefer having the non-live element. But on the other hand, I mean, we have had so many questionable things happen with the bot and the rules this season that I mean, we're still figuring it out. I think it'll take a season or two before we're fully solidified, but I think going towards non-live is better. We'll just have to see.
I think I like we're obviously bringing some back from the previous, but like we're very much in the experimental stages of taking a live challenge and making them non-lives. Because I agree. I do like that it gives them more time. I like that it's a 24-hour tribal council instead of a 48-hour tribal council. The one thing that I would encourage future players is, because they're non-lives, take the time to actually read it. Like, you have the time. You don't have to rush through and be dumbass in your confessional. Take the time, read it, and then ask the questions.
Yeah, like
we're not in any rushing stages here. Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
No, I would like I said, like, do it in your voting booth or submission channel. Like, obviously, there's a difference between a submission channel and your confessional. You already know that. Like, literally one says confessional for one. But my other thing that pisses me off about that whole like experience hosting that. Like, I think that like on paper it was fine. It was just the rules were a bit like clunky in terms of like obviously they were copied and pasted from like a previous season that like wasn't altered right, whatever, which is fine. But I'm sitting here and I'm just like, the number of times I would have to either repeat a question or correct someone because they didn't read the rules properly. I don't know how much clearer the rules needed to be in terms of like pinging production when you're done, or just saying that you're done, or like clarifying questions. I'm like, it's literally not that hard. And then the people that also would sit there and try and be like, oh, well, can I use this loophole? No! Like, first of all, if you have to ask, can I do this? Likelihood for a challenge, the likelihood is going to be no. Almost always. We give you a set of rules and instructions for a reason. Therefore, you are to do the challenge based on those rules and instructions. Period. It's not that hard. There's no need to do this fucking computer coding bullshit or just spamming a bunch of numbers for Gil Hap. It's ridiculous. And then, Sammy, if you're listening to this, I'm talking about you for the spamming numbers because that was silly. I love you, but no. And then, Astrid, if you're listening, also no for the fucking coding bullshit. Absolutely not. Anyway, that's my rant about that. Oh, how to get that off my chest. Jason, continue with the next topic.
Well, loopholes thing was a fun time.
It was a time.
Okay, we are going to jump into the tribe map and advantages. Jack, what do you make of no idols being found so far this season?
I mean, we have only had one of the two spots for an idol be found so far. And the people who have found it on Guano have decided not to actually push for it and just accept a lost vote because they've never felt like they've been in danger because the game hasn't really picked up yet. It wouldn't surprise me if the idol doesn't come into play for a while or until someone just posts it and everyone in that alliance who has seen it goes, oh, let's just quickly get this person the idol, unlock it, and then we'll pretend like that was totally normal. So, I mean, we'll just have to see where this ends up going, but I have a good feeling that the idol is not going to be found for a while.
Yeah.
Like, spoiler alert for the specs. Like, we know that Tim just found a aware advantage. They don't know what it is, but the spoiler is it's the parrot again. So this will be the third time it's been found on this tribe, which is hilarious. But like what Brian, when he found it, was smart enough to like deduce that this was probably rehidden because a lost vote was already in play. So if Tim thinks that it wasn't like if that Brian didn't find it, or if he doesn't figure that out, like he might try and his ally Henry would repeat it, but Brian would actually know. Like we could have an idol that is known to be out there. So it'll be interesting if Tim actually tries something with it this time.
Yeah, it's just like obviously it was a risk to kind of make, because there have been seasons before Suitman's, before we rebranded, obviously, that it's been a lot easier to find an idol. You just, search on the board and, you're good to go and you found the idol, which I think it shouldn't be that easy to find an idol, obviously. However, 3 people all turning down an idol, I don't know. I simply would be moving mountains to get bitches to say whatever I wanted to get a fucking idol. But that's just me being,
This advantage would have been used, like, nobody would have had a clue in my last season. In Dynasties, everybody repeated everything in, like, a group setting. That, like,
no,
they could have done it the first time and nobody would have known.
That GIF alone that Megan would post, you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, we were all fucking parrots last season.
Yeah, so no, it absolutely would have worked that last season 100%. But this season, I think it's been interesting to see that, like, there hasn't been a lot of movement, so they really do have to just rely on game. at this point in time, which I'm here for personally. But I find it interesting.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, continue.
No, that's all I had to say.
Do you enjoy the way that we're doing the advantage board this season, Jack?
I do think it is actually really nice having uncertainty, but allowing players to search for more. It obviously spreads out our advantages a little bit more. We also have places on the board that if you get it, you then have empowered searches and you can go even farther. So I think there is a really nice call and response system to it. I mean, we'll have to look at the end of the season, see how much was and wasn't found to like see if we need to do any tuning. But right now it feels like it's in a pretty okay spot.
Nick, what do you think?
I mean, I think that it's going fine. Like I definitely prefer it to, the hunting ground in, our previous series. I mean, mainly because it crashes significantly less. Like, that's not really an issue as much anymore. But, so that part's really pleasant to deal with and have. But I think overall, though, it's just been kind of more pleasant. And I think it makes it more interactive with the players instead of just, searching in, the camp bush or whatever. Like, it's more interactive and creates more of an incentive for them to actually interact with the board and, like, really think about where shit could be and also communicate with others to try to find shit together. I think that part is really enjoyable to see and watch unfold personally.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it this time. Like, I feel like at this point and with the old Suitman system, like all of the advantages would be found.
Yeah,
and like, it immediately makes for more like intense gameplay and more secrets, or people tell there's a bit more to it there. But in terms of just actually how the searching is going, it feels just more authentic and immersive, where like they have the choice on how intense they're going to search the board. I think the one thing I'm more surprised with is like there are certain groups that are being truthful to each other and they're like trying to play the board, but then others are just not talking. So I'm a little surprised at communication, because one tribe is just not finding anything. And yes, there are odds at play with some of the searches, but they're just not playing it great.
They're not really working together in order to fully crack the board.
Yeah.
And I do also think, I mean, there is the obvious note of Iguano has had significantly more members the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
But on the same note, we've also had Colby on that tribe. We've also had Ginga on that tribe who barely searched. So I feel like there is a little bit of an activity thing and an understanding thing. But yeah, I don't know necessarily what it is about Makuna where they're just not talking as much, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they're just not talking about the board. They're talking to each other, but yeah, they're just not. Like sometimes some people on that tribe have not even gone until the last second, or after tribal council will be like, "Oh wait, I forgot last episode." It's like, well, you can't now. The tribal council's over.
Yeah, they're like, "Can I get 2 guesses this round?" No, bitch, you cannot. You may not.
I don't know about you. I've never forgot to take a guess. Like that's wild to me.
No, because I haven't played now in, I think it's been almost 3 years in this server. Like the last time I played was Chibalba, but that season specifically, it was literally the hunting ground would be reset and we would literally go immediately. Like fucking vultures for food kind of thing.
Yeah, strategies were built before it was reset, not after the reset.
Yeah, exactly. It was intense. So the fact that these people are like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to get," there could be game saving shit on there, and you're just like, it's fine. Like, we all know a few people that have gone home could have used that weren't really utilizing the board the way they should have. But I digress. Not my problem. Not my game to lose. But
I have a follow up. We kind of touched on it a little bit already, but were you guys excited to say goodbye to the Suitbot Prime and
Yes.
wanting board in Suitman?
Yes.
Yes.
Why is
that
Jack?
thing had so many issues, and God, there are so many better things with our current bot.
Yeah. Well, yes. I hated that fucking bot so much. Mainly because it crashed, and mainly because I never found anything on said bot. So, yeah, no, you can eat shit as far as I'm concerned. Love you,
I was gonna say,
Kieran.
like, I would like to take this from like both angles, like from production, as everybody can hear, not a fan, and as a part of production, yes. When I joined production, anyways, I'm like, oh shit, this thing is always fucking crashing.
No,
So yes,
literally,
like, from that perspective, it's the worst. Yes, but from like a player's perspective, like it was always fun. Like it was always like, I don't know, it was easy to use when it was working.
when not being the operative word.
I guess like the one thing that was always annoying as a player was like when it would be reset, and like no offense to Kieran, like obviously he's in the UK, but like when it's reset at 2:00 in the morning Eastern time, and I know exactly where something is because we've all communicated, and I want to be first, but I'm sleeping. Like I'm not woken up for another 3 hours, and somebody could have searched it.
I believe that you should be sleeping. So
there is no sleeping in Survivor. Okay.
Shame on you.
So not a fan of Suitbot Prime. Got it.
I don't know what that is.
We're over her.
I hate to say it, I hope I'm saying ridiculous. I don't know who that man is. He can be walking down the street and I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to that man. That's how I feel about the fucking Suitbot. Anyway.
Nicholas.
Okay, so yes. So now I want to talk a bit about the Amazon cast in general. Now we've already touched on the boots that have gone so far, but Jack, do you have any alleged favorites so far? Given the fact that production allegedly is supposed to be impartial, but do you have any alleged favorites?
Yes. Not a question. There are absolutely people in this cast that have very much surprised me with how they played. Jose did not know who he was preseason.
Yes.
He is putting a lot into this game, and I really appreciate it. He's also really funny. Pixie, I had heard of her before. I could not say that I'd played a game with her, but she's also providing pretty nicely. And Brian has also been giving a lot of information to us. So
yeah.
I cannot complain about any of those three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Jason, faves?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo. Like Jose has become my favorite. Like just the confessionals alone are serving every time. He's so entertaining to watch. But I do think he's not like he obviously got a vote last round, so he's not under the radar as much as he thinks he is, and I think he's come to realize that. But I'm a little worried now that he's kind of been clocked this early in the game, but
yeah,
super entertaining. I would say another favorite is Jamie. Like Jamie's social game is top tier right now, but a little concerned that might be too good. But so far, those two would be my faves. Nick?
Okay. Despite Jose likely being clocked, despite what Monica Beverly Hills once said, not a sulking clock, it's I like Jose a lot. I think Jose has brought a lot to his cast. Additionally, I'm really big fans of both Ben and Bliss. I mean, I played with them before, so it's not really a surprise because I know what they're capable of, but I think both of them are delivering what I expect them to. So pleased about that. Brian is great. Jamie's been great. Pixie's been great. The one person that's like an alumni of Suitman's that came back that I've been pleasantly surprised by has been Scott. Because Scott's last run and last gas was terrible, obviously, as we know.
Yeah, no, I was on the receiving end of that. It was not great, his last run, but he has proven that was a fluke in this game.
Right.
That's
Like
the thing about Scott, though. Like, if you give Scott the runway, he's going to take this far. Like, he didn't get the runway at Gas.
Yeah. If he makes a really good look and does well in the mini challenge and the maxi challenge, he'll win. So I'm pro Scott for sure in this game. Going along with this cast, do you guys have a favorite feud? And the feud, to be clear, can be either mutual or one-sided. My personal favorite is Makuna as a whole and Astrid.
Yeah, I was actually going to say just Astrid versus Matt for some reason, and then Astrid versus Makuna.
Astrid versus everyone, honestly.
It's just such a weird situation because Astrid is like genuinely so confused as to what's happening and like why people view her negatively, and I'm like I just don't think that there's the self-awareness in terms of like sometimes less is more in these games, and ruling with an iron fist immediately, and like it's a good thing to be blunt in general, don't get me wrong, but like there are some times where I'm just like, okay, like in Yule Hat, for example, when they're talking, I'm just like, stop talking. you're pissing people off more and more. Just let people talk to you and be more upfront. Like, I think painting such an unnecessary target on yourself is just not a good look, but it has been so entertaining to watch that whole situation develop, because it's like they haven't really done anything wrong per se. It's just they kind of have been, their ego's been kind of rubbing folks the wrong way, which I think Astrid's a great character though. Overall, I'm enjoying Astrid as a whole. Like, I think it's just a vibe. But Astrid versus the whole tribe was great. I think Henry's one-sided beef with both Brian and V is hilarious too. Jose versus Sammy is now brewing, and I think that will also be hilarious because Jose kind of clocked Sammy immediately for throwing the extra vote on Jose at Tribal. But those are my choices. Jack, what are yours?
I mean, we also do have V, who is kind of just rubbing some people the wrong way based on how he kind of just talks in challenges. He very much asserts himself as someone who knows what's going on. And granted, V is right. V absolutely knows what's going on. And this is the same problem that I have in games is I will know what we need to do as a group, but my phrasing won't exactly be perfect, and some people will get annoyed by it. And I don't blame them. But like, I feel like V could be in some hot water. I mean, we also did have Pixie getting some votes last time, and Damien, because they're so close to Astrid, also getting some heat. So either way, I think if we go back to Tribal Council, I mean, for Makuna, the vote is kind of obvious, but I mean, for Iguano, I'm not 100% sure.
This is kind of why I want Iguano to lose this round, because I think that like that tribe's dynamic is much more open-ended in terms of where the target would be. I feel like there's a few candidates. I feel like Iguana will be probably more keen this round on making a big move, where I feel like Christine will probably be more the obvious move because she's more so towards the bottom of that tribe. But I think there's just more interesting dynamics on Iguano, whereas Makuna, aside from Astrid, there isn't a lot of people that have like intermingled complex relationships yet, if that makes sense. I think Iguana will be more entertaining to see flop. But Jason, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'd say like in terms of feuds, like I'd love like Astrid versus everybody, but Astrid did go into confessionals and like she like pulled at my heartstrings on just actually not being like that self-aware of why she's being targeted. And it is 100% a self-awareness thing, but I hope they win. I hope like she's so good at the challenges that she can help them win this challenge and get out of an easy vote, and we can have some fun with Iguano.
Yeah.
But to kind of touch on what Jack was saying on it was obviously like V is starting to rub people the wrong way based on like knowing too much. I feel like with this cast, because we have a more mature cast than we usually have had in the past, like
Yes.
that's where you need to be very careful of what you say in group settings. And a younger cast like Jinja or Ginga now, and Astra, the way that they talk is very much more like a younger cast type thing. And everybody will jump in and like they'll say dumb things and have fun. But like with the mature cast, like they're not saying as much in group settings. They're clocking what is being said and they're just more self-aware of what's happening and what they're giving off. So I feel like the younger members are kind of getting hurt by that. And like when V is so vocal, he's getting clocked for knowing things, which can be seen as a benefit, but also can be seen as a threat. So I just think everybody needs, the younger members of the tribe just need to be a bit more self-aware when they're looking at ages. Instead of thinking of it as they're against the young people, it's because you're kind of putting yourself out there as young.
Yeah,
You really
I think
need to play down. I play up or play down. Like when I've played, I'm usually the oldest member of the tribe. I have to play down and act younger. It's just what you have to
do. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh like that.
And in this one, they need to act like more mature. Like it's just, I would have died to play in a cast of similar age like this, but they have to pay attention to their surroundings.
Yeah, I think these problems, especially so far, has been. I mean, initially it was like we can talk about like V has applied for every returning season since Luzon. Like that's just been a fact, and has played damn near every present season since Luzon. Like it's been a long time since V has played Survivor in this server. So like we knew that he was going to deliver. He was going to play hard, do all the things, and really try his best. And he has been, to be clear. I'm not knocking UV when you're listening to this post because I know you will be. But what I am going to say about V is initially it was the excitement and really needing to kind of dial it back and compensate for the fact that, okay, there's excitement involved. How can I rein this in and not emerge too soon as a threat? Because taking the charge like this in a challenge where there's like known people that have played Suitmans before and there's known people that are new to the server and haven't played this server before, I think you kind of need to dial it back more and just play more of a back seat and focused on socializing and not taking a strong stance in group settings. And I think because he hasn't done that well, he's taking a target for himself. But, you know, do I think that he can bounce back from that? Absolutely. But I'm curious to see kind of what will transpire now that we've gotten through a double tribal. We have another challenge happening right now, kind of seeing how dynamics shift. But I think Iguano is the tribe right now that I want to see lose because it'll be so entertaining. But in terms of elimination so far, we've talked about obviously everyone, but just briefly, in terms of the 5 people that we've lost so far, Jared, Matt, Colby, Jinja, or Ginga. Is it Ginga?
Jack said Ginga earlier, and I'm like, oh wait, have I been saying it wrong?
I am not sure. I will be honest with you, I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I'm
sticking with Jinja.
I'm sticking with Jinja then. And Kay, out of the 5, who were you like the most like sad to see go? And I'll start with Jack on this question as well.
I think honestly Colby. Obviously something happened in his real life. He was very ready to play this game, and then real life took hold and he completely dipped. And I mean, it is really unfortunate because you just can't plan for these things. But I think if Colby was here, the early part of this game may have taken a very different turn.
Yeah, I agree. I really think that like it would be different in terms of like the dynamics of my tribe, because I think that Colby would have been messy right away. I really do. To where it would have caused more chaos and more strife, and people like Jinja and Christine and Sammy probably could have maneuvered through easily, where like Colby probably would have been running that tribe, in my opinion. But it was unfortunate to see that happen, and I hope like he's doing well outside of the server and whatnot. But it was just unfortunately one of those things where like you can't really control it, and real life took precedence, and I understand that for sure. But it definitely did suck to see. But I'm going to answer K because I love K. Obviously, Colby's did suck too. Obviously, I was really bummed to see K go, but like I do think that K did not do herself a lot of favors this season either. So either way, but Jason, thoughts, feelings, concern.
No concern. Obviously, yeah, Colby being gone is probably like the most unfortunate for the game because we know Colby was going to bring chaos. They were in a really good position. Really kind of changes the whole dynamics of that tribe because I feel like even Colby was closer to V. So Colby leaving hurts V in a way. So yes, that was very unfortunate. But I think like obviously they have to take care of their personal stuff. So because of that, I'm not going to make that my answer, and my answer will be Matt. Just because I feel like yes, they were on a low position where they found the beware advantage and got swapped, but like just never had a chance to really get a good footing on their original tribe. Like they were there for an episode on another tribe, but just kind of screwed in that sense. They did no favors to their own game, but they were in a really tricky position right off the get-go. So it was kind of unfortunate to lose them so quick.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I would like to see Matt play like a second chance season or something like that down the line, but who's to say? We'll see. In terms of, we had 8 Suitman's alumni like be on the cast this season. We had Colby, we had Astrid, we had Jared, we had V, we had Scott. Oh my god, who the fuck else? Oh god, Christine, Bliss, Sammy. Yeah, it's them. Okay. Out of those 8, who do you think did not learn their lesson from their previous appearances on this season? Or they could be, still in the game. They could be out of the game at this point.
I mean, is this really a question? It's Astrid. It is 100% Astrid.
I don't know if it's the only answer.
I was going to say Jared. Because Jared literally went so early in Kyung High. Like Astrid at least made it like late pre-merge in Nunavut. Like Jared went early in Kyung High. I think because he was just not well connected with his tribe, which is the most puzzling part is that Jared, I remember so vividly him giving actually a really good detailed application during casting this season.
Yeah.
And then we just did not see that at all in the game. Like between confessionals, interactions with other people in the game, like we just did not see that from Jared at all. So I personally would say Jared. Astrid, I think the social aspect of the game in terms of maneuvering well throughout the game, being undetected and unclocked early, I think that Jack is right in that aspect for sure. But I was thinking Jared more so personally. But
yeah, I agree. I think it's Jared would be my answer too, just because they wanted to play again so bad in Suitman's and was too early of a boot to get that chance, really. And then tried so hard to get in, we give them that chance, and then they're a first boot. And it was just like a lack of awareness again. It was very much giving Ty this season, but at least Ty got far in his first season. So yeah, I see where Jack is saying with Astrid, but Jared just went home like immediately. So.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like who I think alumni-wise has kind of learned and done well, Bliss and Scott are the prime examples. I mean, Bliss only went out in Rogue Island because she wasn't online to play the idol, which was embarrassing for Bliss. But like, I think that Bliss and Scott are probably the top 2 alum in terms of who have like actually kind of learned from like past mistakes so far and have played nicely. And they're playing together, too, which is even more pleasant to see from me personally, because I like both Bliss and Scott's players. So I'm thriving on that end. But I think that V, to be clear, isn't playing poorly. I just think that V's threat level is a bit too high right now to where I could see them getting picked off before the merge happens. I hope it doesn't, but we'll see. So
I think V has improved the social game.
Yes.
Like playing a much better social game. And really the thing that's taken V down right now is that they are playing I've been here before, here are all the things that I know. Like, you're just being too knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I don't know about you guys, but like I said this in the last podcast, but like when I played Dynasties, being on production, a lot of people asked about it, and I just played the newbie card on production, and I played it down as much as possible and not knowing anything. And look at where it got me. So like V just needs to pretend, like play it down anyways, play less knowledgeable. It's good to have it. You just don't need everybody to know about it.
Yeah, which is crazy though, because like you were on production for 3 seasons before Dynasties happened, for one. That part was wild to me, but nonetheless, it happens. But no, as it currently stands, who do you consider to be the contenders in the game, Jack? And I'm going to limit you to 4 to make it harder on you.
I think right now the contenders for the season are probably Henry, Bliss, Jose, Andrea.
Oh.
I feel like Andrea has a good shot. Henry has just been at the top of everything, and literally no one has said his name once. Jose is playing really smart, but I do think he could get caught. And Bliss is just really social and making the right moves at the moment.
Yeah, I can appreciate that for sure. I think for me, Andrea is definitely one. I think that Andrea is playing really well under the radar, but not too under the radar. So I appreciate that. Gotta give love to my boy Ben too. Ben, I think, is playing well. He's kind of in the middle and not causing a lot of waves or anything like that or mess. Henry, I think, is playing well too. Eating the bitches up. But I'm also gonna say Jamie. I think that Jamie has been playing exceptionally well. And her social game is great. I think that she has potential to win. I really do. I mean, a lot of this cast does, obviously. They're still in the game anyway. But, like, those are the 4 that right now I'm thinking of that, like, are really standing out to me overall. But, Jason, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to say, I'll probably echo a lot of them, but, like, Jamie, I'm going to put it as a contender for sure. I think they're going to go far. I don't think they're going to win. Like, I think they're going to get, like, they're too social. And I feel like people are going to catch on to that. And so I'll put Henry up there as well, because I think Henry is playing a similar game to Jamie and being very social, but just hiding it better. So, which is funny because they're number 1 right now on the average for their tribe, but I don't think they're as obvious about it, and they're being very selective. But I think they can kind of go under and win it. I'm going to say Ben as well, because I feel like Ben has positioned themselves right down the middle where they're not seen as a threat, but can get far. And I could see them maybe even teaming up. Like in a swap, I think they get along with a Henry and a Jamie. And I'm going to say, I feel like I need to like throw a curveball, not just repeat everything you've said, but you've all said like so many people. I just want to say Jose, just because they've been so much fun. And I just really hope to see them in the Final 4. Those will be my 4.
Curveball my ass.
I know, I didn't give any curveballs. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Okay, my last question before Jason takes it back over. Jack, where would you rank this season as of right now on the season tier list?
Number 1.
Shut up, bitch. I tears.
At the moment, I would kind of just rate it okay or good. We haven't really had a lot of standout moments beyond the hilarity of Colby self-voting and it causing a tie. Like, beyond that, we haven't had many standout moments where I've been like, oh, the season is really picking up. At the moment, we're kind of just waiting for something to spark. It's not a bad season, but we're still waiting for something to happen.
I'm sorry, was Christine making an alliance of 11 people not enough for you?
I have to see it.
Are we boring?
I did see things progress so far, but I think that was iconic, but I do think we need more.
Honestly, Christine is my first call for All Stars because she is mother. She is mothering the girls out. her ability to just ease her way through a challenge, her way to manipulate all these bitches into doing an alliance and she was the ringleader in taking Matt out of the game. That's what I'm gonna say, Mama. Okay? Yeah. Give her flowers, damn it.
And you're the president of Delulu Island.
Precisely, and for that reason, I'm giving this season a good ranking as of right now. It needs to pick up more. I think it genuinely will, because honestly, I think not that this cast is bad, but I genuinely think that this cast is one of the better casts that we've ever had. Like after for like a newbie-esque season, and this is obviously rebrand first season, blah blah blah. But I think that this cast was great in terms of what we've seen so far in terms of content being given. I think that we have trimmed the people that have not been giving or hadn't been giving a lot of content. So I think from here on out, it's going to get spicy. Hopefully. We shall see. Jason, thoughts?
Yeah, first off, for the people that are listening who aren't aware, our tiers are poor, average, good, superb, and legendary. I'm going to put this at average right now, only because, like I said earlier, like we've only really seen a culling of the herd. So I feel like because of that, there's so much more gameplay to happen. And like the best players are going to get further in this game. And that's where we're going to start to see the entertainment. That's when we're going to see like the idols come out, which is great. Like the thing I like about the advantages or the tried map this year is that not everything is found at the beginning, and we might be losing like the chaos because of that. But that means when they are found, which when you watch Real Survivor, realistically are happening later in the season as well. And that's when they come out to play. So with the culling of the herd, I feel like we're not going to end the season on average. I'm really excited to see the best players move on, but right now they're just giving average. They're playing safe.
T, you spill. Kudos Mama for spilling.
What's that?
I said kudos Mama for spilling.
You're welcome.
You do not appreciate my Plain Jane reference? What the fuck?
I hate Plain Jane.
Okay, but that moment was...
That makes sense.
And that's the tea.
I mean, to be clear, I also hate Plain Jane, but that fucking moment was hilarious. It was. All right, Jason, take it away then.
Okay. Next stage of the questions is the future of Prestige. So Jackson, what are your hopes for the future of the series?
I mean, right now we're trying to figure out exactly what we're doing with the bot, get it to function correctly, because literally during this call, we had the bot fuck up so bad that we had to go manual, which I am going to kill someone over that. But we're just slowly figuring out what we can and can't do. So my goal would to be to have this bot actually work for us, to be able to develop more interesting, unique challenges, keep expanding the way we have in seasons past, and also just iron down basically all the details of this game. We want to make it more and more fun and realistic. And right now, I think we're in a good place, but I mean, we'll just see at the end of the season if we can do more.
See?
Nicholas?
Yeah, I think yeah, what Jack said. No, I think also in addition to that, like I'm really looking forward to just kind of broadening the community too. Like we got a lot of people that like hadn't really been on the server before this for this season for casting. So I'm looking forward to kind of just expanding the like community that we have. I think, doing new things, taking risks, trying different things that maybe we didn't try as much in, our previous iteration in Suitman's, and just kind of, it just working. Like I want to see it go and have longevity and just really do a lot of positive things and also just have a good time. Like I want it to be a vibe, and people say like Survivors for the vibes. Well, Prestige is the bee's knees. I don't fucking know. It's great. So just having it continue and become something great and then special as Suitman Survivor was, like obviously it's still the same server, but like we're something new. So just having it be something special. So yeah, that's my hope. What about you, Jason?
Yeah, I think using this as our first experiment, really. Like we've taken a lot of the good things that have worked, we're experimenting, and that's obviously going to evolve in the future. And I'm excited to kind of see how it evolves and where we land as it keeps going. But I do like you kind of said, like this season we had a few returnees and a lot of newbies play. And it's been a long time since we had a newbie season, so it was kind of nice to almost build that excitement. But this really is a different experience, and we have like Kieran still in the background helping and NJ still around, but like I'm excited for the evolution and Prestige and just having a lot of like old players come back and new players and just kind of see how players have evolved, because everyone's now actually going to have a chance to play again if they want. So
yeah,
I'm excited. Nick, we'll start with you on this one. What are some locations that you hope to see in the future?
Oh my god, I have no idea where we could possibly go next. For season 2, we know where we're going. I will not speak on that. I would really like to see some more locations in Africa. And South America. I feel like we didn't do a lot of South America in Suitmans at all for Gen 3. Aside from like 31 went to Brazil. We may have went to like Peru or something else. No. We're in Peru right now.
Easter Island, I guess, is kind of South America.
Yeah, but like as a whole, though, we didn't do a lot of South American seasons, so I would kind of be inclined to go there more. That'd be fun, I think. Also, Greenland. I've always wanted to do like a Greenland-esque thing. That'd be fun. But Jack, what about you?
I mean, we haven't done a lot of places within the US. I mean, we only did one. And I mean, there's a lot of different landscapes we can pull from. We can pull from places in Canada. Like, I will say we probably should have more seasons set in Africa. We just haven't had some so far. So,
right,
the US and Africa.
I think like this, what we have different for Prestige anyways right now is that like with Suitmans, they were going with the alphabet. This time we're not doing that, so it's going to open it up again to a bit more, because I think we kind of narrowly, when you get to a queue, there's not a lot of options.
Quebec, the fuck?
Well, for Africa, anyways.
Oh, well, for Africa, I mean, there's bound to be stuff in Africa there. So,
but like, I don't know. For me, I just want us to go to not stereotypical places. Which I know is really hard to like in the org world. Like I'm sure every single part of the world has been touched, but going to like the less stereotypical ones that you'd find on regular Survivor, and just having some fun with the locations and integrating locations into like the themes of the season, which we've done a pretty good job of with Suitmans in the past. So continuing that, but I'm always going to have a soft spot for any Portuguese speaking countries. But I would like to avoid Brazil. Like I know that's most of South America, but like there's a lot of them out there. We have to expand our horizons.
I will have you know that I did Brazil, and it was a fun time. All right,
moving on. Yeah. Jack, what are some season twists you think would be fun to experiment with?
I mean, we do have some of the old twists with, I think if we wanted to bring back potentially mass swapping of tribes, oh god, let me see off the top of my head. Mass swapping of tribes could be fun to bring back. Material world could be fun if we figure out how to balance it. I love that twist, and I will never let any of y'all come for me.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh.
eventually we'll do some sort of Retribution Island, Redemption Island, Edge of Extinction kind of thing. It'll just happen eventually. Ultimately, I want to see twists that allow players to play the game in a different way, but still have it feel like Survivor. It shouldn't be some like, crazy thing that gives someone complete immunity for an extended period of time.
What?
Uh, like it, it needs to be reasonable, but I think giving players more agency and choices is the way that I want to lean towards.
Yeah, I want to have a public vote where the T-Specs can vote to have one person be immune until jury. That has famously worked out in reality TV really well before.
Oh my
And
god.
Nick has just been fired from production, everybody. There's an opening. Send your applications to Pump Smash.
Sadly, we're not hiring on me so much, so I just claim my spot back. Thanks so much, Diane.
Was that your idea, Nick?
No, it wasn't my actual idea. Oh my god, he's so for real. As a Netta stan, obviously traders made up for Big Brother Canada 5, but I digress. But I've always been a Netta fan, so either way. But no, I don't know what we could do. I mean, I have thoughts and ideas, but I don't know. They're not fully fleshed out. Jason, do you have any thoughts?
I think kind of like what I said in the last question was like using the location as like starting points to the themes and to the twists. Like it's hard to do something like completely brand new, but putting fresh spins or a fresh coat of paint on a lot of really good twists and some really bad twists, like Jack said earlier. I guess there's some room for improvements on some of them. But
Wait.
I forget what it's called, Material World.
Material from Jamaica.
I know. Whenever
right?
I hear it, all I can think of is Madonna. But yeah, no, I don't really have anything sensed on. There's not something that I'm like dying to do. Doing some like fun things and being experimental is definitely where I'd like to see us continue to go. And Suitman has always been really good with that. So, but also not doing anything, I don't know, that's gonna like ruin a game for somebody. Like it should be fun. I think that's the biggest thing that we should take away and continue to look to strive for Prestige is how do we make the game fun for everybody. Did I just sound like Jeff Probst? Never mind, like or Mike
disgusting. Hey, you leave Mike White alone. I love that diva.
Well, Mike White is fun, but like
stream White Lotus season 3 right now. Natalie Cole and Carl from David vs. Goliath are on the season.
I know, I had to pause it. It was so great. I loved it.
Natalie Cole for Survivor 50, please. Thank you very much. Anyway, Jack, are there any twists that like we've maybe done before that you don't want to see again?
Yes. Giving anyone complete immunity for any amount of time. Basically anything that just strips away people's votes and forces them into a style of gameplay. Any sort of extremely luck-based twist that doesn't feel like you can adapt from properly. I mean, that's primarily what I look at as like the negatives of what we've had in the past.
All right. I think there being an element of luck is always kind of like why. Like obviously I think there's luck inherent in a lot of shows like that anyway, but I think just like having it to be where it like directly fucks someone over to where like they have to like now play only a certain way is just always so unfun to watch for most of the time. Like there's been very few moments where I'm like, oh my god, I love that happened because it's so much better. Like it's a rare thrilling moment for me personally. But Jason, what are your thoughts?
For me, I guess I don't know if this is a hot take or something, but for some reason, whenever I play, I always have a season where it's like, if you lose your vote, you gain something. And I fucking hate that. 'Cause so, like, in
If
my
you abstain,
seasons, if you ever, what's that?
if you abstain from voting, you get a burning idol. Like, who the fuck?
I know, like, that I hated as a player. Like, not in the fact that it would, like, expose me for having it. It's just like you have this advantage, but then you kind of lose its influence. But, like, at the same time, trying to get, like, knowing what's happening is why you wouldn't play it. So, like, I was in a good spot to do that, but I don't know, just not the funnest way to play. Like, eventually you need to just play it to get yourself a vote. And it really fucks with your survival score, and I hate that.
That is very true.
I've made the final twice, and I think I've had like a shitty survival score because I always had to abstain to gain something. And I always abstained because I was always in a good spot. But anyways, I digress. I like, and I guess I do think those are fun to watch. So like, I don't think those are never going to be used again. But I think in my seasons, if I'm like part of putting it together, that's something that I don't think that I would place into it.
Right. Which makes sense. Okay. Final thoughts about the Amazon before we close today. I'm going to start with Jason on this question.
I'm just, like I've said it before, I feel we've had a mediocre start, and it's just the culling of the herd. And I'm excited to see what comes next, because now we're going to have some good set dynamics. The dynamics are going to go at each other. There's going to be, spoiler, a swap coming soon. Like, it's going to get fun, and I can't wait to see the dynamics that by the time we speak next. Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, right now the game is moving really slowly, but we are going to force the game to speed up really soon. I mean, we only have about 20 days left of the game at this point. So obviously we have a lot more people to go through. I think players are really going to be surprised how quickly the game picks up at Merge, and it is going to go very, very quickly that they are going to have to adapt to what is being thrown at them.
Yeah, I think, like, I'm very hopeful that it picks up more, and like we see, you know, betrayals happen more often, and we're seeing like less passive gameplay. I feel like it's so easy to be, you know, just following the herd at the beginning, to just kind of not make waves. And I'm really hoping that we start to see people split more often, instead of, you know, the Matt vote where it was just kind of like, well, in case Matt has an advantage, we're going to put it on Ginger instead. It's like, okay. Which, to be fair, it was hilarious what happened with that tie. But overall, I think that it's just something that I'm compelled to see more division, and there to be a lot more cutthroat gameplay. So I'm excited to see that transpire this season. But, you know.
Agreed.
Definitely agreed.
But I need these bitches I need them to turn on the car and start driving. And I'm looking at you, Christine, if you're listening to this postseason. Probably not, but if you are, turn the keys and start driving. And specifically, start reading the rules of the challenge. I digress. But anything else before we close today?
Quick thank you to Kieran for putting together these awesome podcasts. They look great, and they're on our YouTube channel. So thank you for your continued work.
Blessing, Kieran. Thank you, King. Jack, final thoughts?
I am ready to see this season continue, and I know that this game, I'm very excited to see some of the later challenges. So if the game is moving kind of slow right now, just stick with it. It will get more entertaining soon.
Yeah. There's one challenge specifically down the line in the merge that I don't know if we've ever done it before. Maybe we have, but I host it, and I'm very excited to host it without giving anything away. And Jack and Jason can probably figure out what I'm talking about given the schedule that we have. But I'm so excited to see how it unfolds. I think it's gonna be so good. I'm so excited for it. But overall, though, I'm just excited to see because we have a lot of good shit coming. So I'm excited to see all of it. But for now, I want to thank Jason for being my trusty co-host today and doing the damn thing with me, even though you made fun of me for choking our pretzel.
I mean, you survived, so congrats.
Thank you so much for your empathy.
Our sole survivor.
Never would have heard that. But I also want to thank Jack especially for being a trooper and coming on and being our guest despite being ill. But I hope you feel better, King, and I thank you so much for coming here and being candid and just having a gay old time with us. So thank you so much, King.
Absolutely. It was lovely coming by.
We'll always have you back. We love you, and we hope you feel better, because that is horrid for a week. But anyway.
Thank you.
But for those listening, thank you guys for listening again. Keep listening, keep sending questions. Any constructive feedback is appreciated. And we all know what we're talking about when I say that. Thank you so much. But for now, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.